you can enter the army as a sheep. If you have those little qualities in you, the army will turn you into a wolf, into an alpha wolf. We in the army, we need wolves. We don't need tigers and lions. We work as a pack of wolves. We work as teams. We hunt as teams, and not as lions. Not there's no Rambo in the army. We don't fight alone. There's no one man army. We don't want people to do things alone. Nor we are lions, because we don't want our hunters to go and hunt our prey, and the lion enjoys the meal. No, Indian army officers lead by example. Indian army officers are there in the front always, be it conventional war, be it proxy war, be it counterinsurgency, be it disaster management or any kind of relief operations. You'll always see that it is the officer who is standing in front. He's always leading from the front, and everything starts on your head. The first battle that you fight is in your mind, and it is the first thing that comes is your thoughts. If your thoughts, whatever your thoughts are, your feelings will be according to that, right? And whatever your feelings are, your actions will be according to that, and your actions will lead to your experiences, and your experience is your overall game of life, right? So work on on having a positive mindset, and that is, it makes you realize that you're stronger than you are always, because the body doesn't get tired. It is your mind that gets tired before your body. Your mind signals your body ki bhai ho gaya mera. That's when the body stops. And if you can keep pushing your mind, your body will keep pushing itself. And that is what you can actually test. And that's what actually they test as well in probations. And so paras mein tha uske baad. My first combat experience was actually a hand-to-hand combat experience. So firefight was something that I got a lot later, almost about 1.5 years after that operation. He stopped me saying that, Bhaskar, we are the Indian Army. We don't kill people in cold blood. When he said that, I still remember the exact words. He said that in the heat of the moment, if there was fire or if there's contact, then you fire at him. That's a different case. But we are a professional army. We can't do this.
Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. Today we have Major Bhaskar Sharma from the Indian Army, and in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining the Indian Army, life in the Indian Army, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So, thanks a lot, sir, for coming on this interview, and welcome.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm absolutely honored and humbled that you invited me for your podcast. And also, I would like to congratulate you for taking out this channel for armed forces personnel, including police personnel. And this is something that is very dear to us, very dear to us. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you could tell us, how was your life before joining the Indian Army, and what was your motivation to join the Fauj?
Life before the Indian Army, Akash, I was completely a civilian. So I had no idea about what the army was. And in my family also, there's been no one in the army or any armed forces. There's nobody involved. And I actually didn't know anything about, even OTA, NDA, IMA till my graduation. So it's like any other guy, when you're passing out and you're yet to realize what you have to do in life, right? So I was one of those guys who had no clue as to what to do with the life ahead. And my parents were saying that do MBA. My friends were saying that get a job. So I tried getting a job. I tried working in various companies, and I left all of them. I could just stay with them for maybe just a couple of weeks, and then I switched to another. Then another. I tried studying MBA as well, and tried to prepare for CAT and things like that. But then somehow I couldn't connect, and I was not really happy doing it. And then, in fact, the first time somebody told me about joining army was one of my friend, and he was my sparring partner. I was in Bangalore that time, and I used to play boxing for Karnataka, so he was my sparring partner, and I was a medalist in state championship. Including I sort of represented Karnataka in national level boxing as well. So he was a very dear friend of mine. I lost touch with him, but he was the first person. He said that, what about Fauj? Why don't you try thinking about this? And then I was like, Fauj, tell me more about it, And then he said that, there is something called IMA, there's something called OTA. Why don't you do some Google about it? And then I started doing some research. I, searched what is NDA, IMA, OTA, what is CDS examination, what is SSB. Try to read about various arms and regiments and this and that. So that's how I got, first introduced to the armed forces. That was towards the end of my graduation. And then thereafter, I went to university in Delhi. I was studying conflict analysis and peace building in Jamia Millia Islamia. So there I found a teacher who was an ex-army officer. And he kind of inspired me a lot. I just loved the way he talked, he taught, anything that he did, the way he walked, the way his timings, his discipline, and everything was like, it was somewhat different from the rest of the professors. So he was one person who really motivated me, without saying anything that you should join the army. But I was, those things kind of started influencing me. And, being Delhi being what it is, and especially in universities where actual education starts, anything below university level in India, I think there's a lot to cover up. There's a lot to do. But post graduation, it's the education, post graduation education in India is really good. So, and that was when I got introduced to the politics of the intellectual left. I got introduced to the, my friends from Kashmir. During that time, it was a lot of pro Azadi and, pro Pakistan and things like that. In fact, there were holidays in which I had to do some project where at that time I went to Kashmir. So I told my friends from Kashmir that I'll be coming for some project, look after me, and they said, why don't you come and stay with us in Srinagar University? And I went there, and to my shock, for the first time, I experienced that, over there were only two kind of thoughts. One was pro Azadi and the other was pro Pakistan. There was no third kind. So all these things were, it was a lot of, it was something very new, and it was very hard hitting for me. Like, how can something this happen? And then moreover, there was a couple of years before there were 26/11, right? And there were a couple of other, terror, horror that the country has seen during that time. And then, of course, there were movies. I watched LOC Kargil and the other movie of, Hrithik Roshan. I forgot the name. So all these things together cumulatively kind of shaped my mind. It was not one particular event that motivated me towards army, or it was not somebody guiding me to go and join the army, since I knew nobody, from the army or any armed forces. So it was this my interaction with the environment and the response that I got from that environment. And cumulatively, I got this inspiration that, yeah, I think Fauj is what I should look for.
Understood, sir. So if you could also speak about, how was your experience in the service selection board, and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants, who would be appearing for SSB.
Akash, SSB, see, I failed SSB many times. I don't even remember, maybe 4 or 5 times. I was conference out all the time. But I was relentless. I went back again and again and again and again. And I think I cleared my last attempt, and that was in OTA. So I did not give up. I just continued. And every time I went there, I tried to learn something new, right? And we normally get what I feel, we normally get, we think too much about the SSB. SSB is not, it's not a very difficult thing or a very great thing. No, SSB is a place, army is not looking for very high intellectual people, or, the super strong or the superhuman or the people who are very strong, very fast, very, nothing of that sort. We are looking for very normal people who can be trained, right? They should have some kind of leadership qualities that can be forged during training, and make the best person out of him, the best leader out of him. So the remaining part, you can enter the army as a sheep. If you have those little qualities in you, the army will turn you into a wolf, into an alpha wolf. We in the army, we need wolves. We don't need tigers and lions. We work as a pack of wolves. We work as teams. We hunt as teams, and not as lions. Not there's no Rambo in the army. We don't fight alone. There's no one-man army. We don't want people to do things alone. Nor we are lions, because we don't want our hunters to go and hunt our, our prey, and the lion enjoys the meal. No, Indian army officers lead by example. Indian army officers are there in the front always, be it conventional war, be it proxy war, be it counterinsurgency, be it disaster management or any kind of relief operations, you'll always see that it is the officer who is standing in front. He's always leading from the front, right? So that the academy and the army life will take care of, right? What you need basically, is to have an overall, uh, overall quality human being, which has basic sets of leadership capabilities. That's all they're looking for. They're not looking for anything more than that. They're not looking for people who are excellent in communication or excellent in anything of that sort. Very normal human beings. Now this, since like I said, I have repeatedly gone to SSB and repeatedly improved myself. Now, how you can improve yourself is, it is not something that you can do overnight, but at the same time, it is overall personality development that is required, right? Personality can be developed over months. And that is precisely the reason why they have this 6 months gap. You have, I think, SSBs every 6 months or the serious examination every 6 months. So that period is good enough for you to have some kind of change in your life, right? And personality can be changed if you continuously work on yourself. Now, for SSB, the kind of personality that we look for in the armed forces, if you take care of what I believe and what I worked on at that point of time, was I worked on 4 things. I tried to, gauge into myself. I tried to look at myself and ask myself that what is it that I need to work for and what is it that, they are looking for. Later on, I became such an SSB veteran because of going again and again. It was not just them studying me, I was studying them too, right? So SSB, those 5 days of interview, they're constantly looking at just one thing, that is your psychology. That is your mindset. They're not looking for anything else. Over and over again through various tests and various mediums and various modes, whatever they're using, making you writing stories, making you write, sentences, group discussions, those GTO, tasks, that obstacles you need to cross with your team, even the personal interview, over and over, they are looking at your mind from various angles. So they are testing your mind as to check that, bhai, ye banda jo hai, kal ko, if he is an officer, can he lead troops into battle or not? Right? So if he has those tiny little potential, yes, we will catch that guy. We will, hold him into the, required person that the army requires. Right? So
Hmm.
how I worked on, there are 4 things. Number one, if you want to get through SSB, the first thing that you need to work on is how you can have a positive mindset, right? So positive mindset is nothing but it is a very simple thing. It is optimism. Optimism in the face of adversity, optimism in the face of challenges. If you are optimistic, you will perceive those challenges and those adversities as opportunities of growth. You will learn. Even if you fail, you'll be lessons learned. You will always go back, by being better and work on it and get through. Right. So optimism is very important because at the end, everything starts on your head. The first battle that you fight is in your mind. And it is the first thing that comes is your thoughts. If your thoughts, whatever your thoughts are, your feelings will be according to that. Right. And whatever your feelings are, your actions will be according to that. And your actions will lead to your experiences. And your experience is your overall, game of life. Right. So work on having a positive mindset, and that is just by simply being optimistic in life in general. Approach anything in life with a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of optimism, a little bit of go-getting attitude, a little bit of positive attitude कि भाई ये होगा काम, इसको छोड़ने वाला नहीं हूँ मैं, right? So first thing is positive mindset. Second thing that I thought was very important was clarity. Clarity is something, how I would explain is, it is like in the middle of chaos, absolute chaos. If you can keep your mind silent and if you can secure your goals and your priorities intact and focus on them, that is clarity. So if your sense of purpose is clear in your mind, then it becomes very evident that what you want is clear. So what you want is clear, and if you are willing to accept the consequences that you face from whatever action you take, right? Irrespective of whatever the outcome is, decision making becomes very effortless. Because in the army, you will have to make decisions. You'll have to make decisions in every point, and you'll have to make quick decisions. Army can have a wrong decision, to be very honest, because there can be course correction, but there cannot be no decision. So decision making will become easier if you're clear in your head. So clarity is important. So whatever you're doing in life, your focus should be towards your goals and your objectives. If that sense of purpose is clear, it doesn't matter kya chaos ho raha hai, kya ho raha hai, kya nahi ho raha hai duniya mein. You will sail through. You will get through, right? So keeping clarity is important. Number three, what I feel is, what I worked on was I tried to find my passion. Passion is a very important thing. Without passion, it's no point. It's no point. You have to have passion in order to achieve your objective. But the question is, passion is not something that you can generate overnight or ek din so ke uth gaya bola I'm passionate about this. It doesn't happen like that. It is a long process. It is a very long process, and passion is something that will evolve with time. But for passion, it is what fuels passion. What fuels passion is actually your purpose, your cause. There has to be an underlying cause which is going to fuel your passion. So you have to have a cause that you feel is larger than yourself. So if you have that cause, if you have that purpose, passion will automatically ignite and it will keep on taking you through. So if you want to join the army, and you have to have a cause, you have to have a reason why you joining the army. When I joined the army, my passion was fueled because like I said, during that time there were a lot of things happening, and I desperately wanted to be a part of security of the nation and nation building, and I wanted to be part of that team who is the cutting edge of protection and defense. So these things may sound silly, but at that point of time, that was what was running on my mind. I said I have to be part of this. This is one life, and if I'm not part of this, then I will consider this life to be a waste. And I went hard on with that, head on with that, day in, day out, and those things kept on fueling my passion. You're getting it? So that's how my passion towards the army developed, and it is still there. I am still passionate about the army, and it is still burning today. So it is very important that you keep your passion, develop it, nurture it, and keep it burning all the time. And lastly, I would say the most important thing, this is the mother of all traits. It is discipline. You must have heard that discipline eats motivation for breakfast, and it is absolutely true. Absolutely true, because see, motivation, you will not be motivated every day. You will, willpower will flicker. It'll come, it'll go. But it is your discipline that will set you through, that will get you through, that will push you every day. Every day. And discipline is all about consistency. You have to consistently do what you are supposed to do in order to achieve your goal. So without discipline, it is fruitless. It is fruitless. That means you don't have the passion, you're not clear, and you're not positive either. So discipline is the base of everything. So yeah, so these four things I would say that anyone aspiring for SSB, and they should work on these four things. If you keep these four things in mind, there will be an instant personality development as a whole. And that's how this is what I have done. I concentrated on these four factors, and over time, I kept improving myself, and finally there was a time where I knew, last SSB was such that I knew that mere ko to milna hi hai. It was not overconfidence, but deep in my, somewhere in my inner consciousness, it told me that I will get through this time, because I constantly kept investing on myself, constantly kept improving myself. So
Got it.
yeah, so that's about SSB. Keep it simple, and just improve yourself and overall personality.
गॉट इट सर. सर अगर आप ये भी बता सकते हैं कि आपका एकेडमी में एक्सपीरियंस क्या था आप ओटीए में थे, कोई मेमोरेबल इंसिडेंट है जो आप शेयर करना पसंद करेंगे एस्पिरेंट्स के साथ?
Yeah, OTA is in Chennai. it has a training duration close to about 1 year, and I think IMA has got about 18 months. So OTA is hell. It is absolutely hell. It is tough. The weather is bad. First of all, it is hot. It is humid, and the weather conditions are such that it is not very conducive for training either. But you have to compensate that, because somebody training for about 1.5 years, in order to come up to that standard, you'll have to give a little bit of extra kassa. So OTA is famous for that. It is tough, and nobody, you ask any officer, nobody would like to spend 1 day extra in an academy. Uh, Academy, even though it was very tough, this will be the most memorable time of your life. And if you ask me about particular experience, there are so many experiences. One particular thing that I would like to tell you is, where I learned a very important lesson is, I was from Basantar company. Now Basantar was, the company which is supposedly the most toughest company in OTA. And वहाँ पे दो academy चलता था. One was OTA and one was BTA. Officers Training Academy and Basantar Training Academy. So Officers Training Academy would probably go on a little after dinner till about 10, 11 or whatever. But BTA used to start after that, till about morning 3:30 or 4, whatever. Morning 5, 5:30, you had to be on PT field. So yeah, they made you really mentally very, very strong. And so as the legacy and as the reputation of Basantar, there were a couple of, there are a lot of competitions in OTA in order to get the banner. And uh, the competitions may, there are certain professional competitions. Every company has got their own, particular competition that is like very dear to them. Right? ये तो हमारा ही है. So likewise, we also had our own share. And one among them was known as the runbacks. The runbacks are basically 40, 50 kilometers of navigational run with your full battle load. And you are supposed to close in the fastest. Whoever closes in first, the entire team, they win. And runbacks used to be a core competency of Basantar, and Basantar is not supposed to lose in that. And apparently we lost. And uske baad, we were quite disheartened. We knew, and Fauj mein harna mana hai. The moment you lose, you are screwed. So, if you're a junior terma, your seniors will screw you, then your platoon commander will screw you, then your company commander will roger you, everyone. It's like one after the another. And we lost. And then we went to the company and we were waiting for our DS, our company commander. And we knew that something bad is going to happen. So he came, and he came out of his car. He pulled out the chair. We sat down, and he looked at us and he said, "Start." So moment he says start, तो start is basically the order कि भाई शुरू कर दो तुम लोग. वहीं पे रोलिंग शोलिंग शुरू हो गया. कोई इधर से खून निकल रहा है, कोई उधर से खून निकल रहा है. All sorts of things. And then it was a very bad night. ठीक है, but time went by. There were more competitions. Some we won, some we lost. But again came a very flagship, came another flagship championship. It was known as the March and Shoot. So March and Shoot में ऐसा था कि there was a lot of pressure on us, because that is another core competency of Basantar company. And history has it that Basantar has never lost a March and Shoot. So there's a lot of pressure. There's legacy, there is that image to be maintained, and we already know what happened in one of the runbacks. So there's a lot of pressure, and finally, March and Shoot is basically it's a few kilometers a run, and then you cross about 20, 30 obstacles, and then you go to the firing range, you fire at your targets. That again is a time thing, and whoever team-wise, whoever closes in first and hits the targets, they are the winners. And fortunately, we won. And we were very happy. And we went to the company. Our company commander came. I thought he's like going to, we're going to celebrate like anything. फिर वो आया, and then again he pulled out his chair, sat down, looked at us, and he said, "Start." So वहाँ शुरू हो गया फिर से rolling, shilling, and everything. But this time, everybody was happy. Everybody was doing it with, a lot of enthusiasm, lot of happiness, and things like that. And then later on, I just went and asked the company commanders, sir, run back mein haar gaye the, you punished us, but is baar to jeet gaye the, why did you do it? So I knew he did it for fun. I thought he's going to tell me, okay, stop it now to me alone. But then he didn't. He was polite enough to tell me a very important thing. He said that, see, First he asked me that, did you take it as a punishment? I said, no, sir, none of us did. Did you get injured like last time? I said, no, sir, none of us did because we were all doing it, everything very perfectly. We were like cats that time. And he said that, see, in it is not about difficult times or good times. It is about your approach to life. If your approach to life is optimistic, if your approach to life is with an open mind, you'll always do the right thing the right way, and you'll overcome challenges without a scratch. So, these lines I still remember. And through your channel, I would like to tell your viewers as well that, your approach in life that matters. And if you do the right thing the right way, you will overcome challenges without a scratch. So that was a very important lesson that I learned. And there are a lot of other stories, but we can keep it for some other time.
Got it, sir. Sir, you were also a para opti. I've seen your photos. So, who are the kind of cadets who will actually opt for para, and how was your experience in the probation?
Yeah, I after academy, I went to the paras because I wanted to see operations. And probation, wait, it's 3 months. It's basically 3x commandos. Commandos is in Belgium school is somewhere around 35 days. Para probation is somewhere around 90 days. So 90 days of ghasa ko milne wala hai. But after that, after probation, I was there for some time, and then I had to leave, and I went to my parent unit that was in Dogras. But I was fortunate that right after the academy, I got exposed to all the heliborne operations training. So that includes tie, that includes halo casting, that includes slithering, and all sorts of things. So at a very starting of my career only, I got exposed to these kind of infiltration techniques. There's a lot that I learned. But those 3 months of probation, I learned so much that maximum learning I could say that it happened then, and the time that I spent in the barracks. And of course, later on in special operations forces, also it was a great learning experience. But probation may, they're going to screw you big time, because see, at the end they're testing your mind. They're testing how far can you take it, how far are you resilient. So they will make you run your speed march 30-40 kilometers at night. मॉर्निंग यू आर आउट फॉर पीटी, पीटी में आपको बीपीटी दौड़ा देगा वही 5-6 किलो का पपलू के साथ. एंड and then then you are off for your demolition classes, then you're off for your unarmed combat classes, then शाम को उनको दारू पिला के फिर से दौड़ा देगा. And then at night they will call you to the office, will like, paper लिखो, exam लिखो. And after so much of things that is happening, it is very difficult. And then when you write the paper, you're half asleep and you're writing the paper, and then they ask you, "Ki bhai, paper complete hua?" It's like, here it is, and they see all the handwriting is going like that, and then tell you, "Were you feeling sleepy, Lieutenant?" And you would say, "No, sir." And then tell you, "Jao, jaake tank, water tank mein ghus jao," and then whole night you were there. So yeah, so there's a lot of pressure, but wo ragra to milne hi wala hai. That is part and parcel of probation. Whether it is probation, whether it is commandos, whether it is probation in SOF, or including NSG, that is constantly to test your mind. And if interested in it, they must go. They must go because it is an experience of a lifetime. It makes you realize that you're stronger than you are, always, because the body doesn't get tired. It is your mind that gets tired before your body. Your mind signals your body ki bhai ho gaya mera. That's when the body stops. And if you can keep pushing your mind, your body will keep pushing itself. And that is what you can actually test. And that's what actually the test as well in probations. And so हाँ पैरास में था. उसके बाद I went to Dogras, and my unit was there in counterinsurgency. So वहाँ पहुँचते ही मुझे लगा कि भाई, this is exactly what I came and joined Fauj for. And I was there, and a lot of learning from CI experiences, a lot of operations conducted. It was an amazing experience.
Got it, sir. So when you joined the Dogra, so how was your learning curve as a young officer to what you later became? So how was that learning curve as a young officer for you?
Yeah, when I joined Dogras, I realized that Dogra troops are tough as hell. Yeah, they are very, very tough. And there's also one more thing, that these guys have got slightly higher IQ than anybody else. So uh, these are the kind of troops with whom you'd like to sit down and plan your operations, because they give you very smart ideas. And these are the kind of troops who can have self-leading teams. Something, SF units are something similar. They have this concept of self-leading teams. Similarly, even in, probably, Dogras is one of those units that's, that is capable of having self-leading teams. I'm sure there are people in other units as well. There's no doubt about it. But since I've served in these units, so I know. So yes, so that is one very, important thing. And there's a lot that I learned from them. There's a lot that I learned from, the JCOs, the NCOs, and it has been a constant learning curve. Whatever I've learned in one unit, I apply them on the other, and whatever I learn in this unit, I apply on the other. So there is it's a symbiosis relationship. I learn something from them, they learn something from me, and and that's that way. There's a lot of learning, and learning is it's a constant process. Yeah. It's a constant process throughout your life. And in the army, there's not a single day that you don't learn something new.
Right. So, how was your first combat experience, as a young officer, and what were the various learnings or mindset that you had when you went into the combat?
In combat operations, as I said, that I straight away I went to counterinsurgency. So initially, when you start, there's so many operations that you conduct. Initial operations were, almost 15, 16 of them were all, unsuccessful. But my first combat experience is actually my first combat experience was actually a hand-to-hand combat experience. So firefight was something that I got a lot later, almost about 1.5 years after that operation. So that operation, and in fact, that operation is very dear to me, because there also I learned something very important, very very unique from one of my fellow officers. So वहाँ पे क्या हुआ था? It was in Northeast, and there were a couple of, every time we're getting inputs that, there are these militants that they come to this particular area. And we have laid many ambushes. Yeah. I mean, in past 1.5 months, we laid close to about 15, 20 ambushes, but none of them were successful. And those were, I would say, after getting proper int. So, but then we couldn't get them, because, the international border is there. They would quickly go into the other side. They would come here, operate, and then can go back. And it was quite difficult that time. And but then eventually, towards it was after about 20 odd ambushes went wrong, and then finally we got a very hard end. And we exactly knew where they were coming, and we laid an ambush in that particular area. So that area was like, you have the jungle on one side, the small foot track, and then there is a 20, 30 feet slope, and then there is a river, right? So we put our ambush, and we waited for them, and then we were getting, live input, because one of my sources were there with them that time. And they came into the, ambush site, and then I got a input from my stops in front that they have entered. I asked them, do you see any weapon? They say there's a kapde pehen rahe, weapon dikh nahi raha hai. Now the point is, you have to understand that it's very difficult to identify a militant. The only way you can identify a militant is to check whether he has a weapon or not, right? Otherwise, he's just a civilian. और वहाँ पे जैकेट जूकेट पहन के अंदर, वेपन लेके घूम रहा है, तो we don't know. And the rules of engagement were very clear. You fire only when you're fired at. So otherwise, you might end up doing, killing a civilian. So he came to the exact location. Everything was happening according to, our plan. It was going great. And so we challenged them. And what they did was they did not fire at us. We used our HSTIs and everything, but we cannot detect anything. But we challenged them, and they did not fire at us. We thought, okay, they may be a civilian, may not be a civilian. One guy tried to run, so he ran back, and the stops caught them. The other two guys, me and my buddy, jumped on one, and one more buddy pair jumped on the other. So we got them, nabbed them, and then we found the guy whom we nabbed. He had two pistols in his with him. So we got hold of him and caught him. The other guy, suddenly one of my boys shouted, Ki Saab, dagger maar diya. And then, to my shock, I was like, shit, I think I lost one of my men, because, he tried to stab him. And then I went running to him. I caught that guy, the militant, and slope tha wahan pe. And I slipped and I pulled him with me. So both of us went rolling down. And I lost, I happened to lose my weapon somewhere there only. And he was bloody carrying a shotgun, and he also lost his weapon. And both of us, rolled down and we stopped near the river. And he immediately got up and punched me on my face. So that got me more angry. And then there was like proper, hand to hand chal raha hai wahan pe, dhama, dhuma, dhama, dhuma. And he was also quite a tough guy, big chap. And I was getting angry every time he was punching me on my face. So I was really angry, and there was a lot of rage that was going on. So I pinned him down. I started punching him. Our boys from top were, they were shouting, "Bhai, saab ka hai, saab ka hai." Niche se bas aawaze aa rahe, dhum dham, dhum dham. And then, finally, two, three guys came down, and then they stopped us. They got the guy. We went up, and I was so angry, with so much rage. There was another officer with us. Yeah, he was senior to me. In fact, it was a joint operation with the Assam Regiment. And I told Sir, sir, dekho, these three guys, they tried to stab one of our boys. Inko thok dete hain wahi pe. In the middle of the jungle, nobody gets to know. Nothing will say that it's an encounter. Let's bloody, pin them there itself. And then, because, they might going to, go to jail. They come out and they will again start the same thing. Perhaps maybe kill a few civilians. Instead, let's end it right here. But then he didn't let me do that. He stopped me. I was, little stupid at that time. He stopped me saying that, Bhaskar, we are the Indian Army. We don't kill people in cold blood. When he said that, I still remember the exact words. He said that in the heat of the moment, if there was fire or if there was contact, then you fire at him. That's a different case. But we are a professional army. We can't do this. And I realized after some time that, those words are so heavy. I was like thinking, what the hell was I trying to do at that time? And he told me very clearly, कि भाई तुम आज कर दोगे, you glory may be yours, क्योंकि body निकालने में तो एक दिन लग जाएंगे road पहुंचने में. You can always have a medal for that, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, will you be proud of this? And that was a big lesson he taught me. I'll not name him because he's still a serving officer. But a fantastic gentleman. Is from Rajasthan, and really enjoyed that operation, and it was a big learning for me. So that was my first combat operation where there was hand-to-hand combat. And later on, yes, I did have a firefight as well, where I almost thought that I lost my life.
But before you go and tell us, about your experience in the combat, if you could, I've seen some of your photos in with the weapons, right? So, what was your favorite weapons in various kind of combat that you used to go?
Yeah, I used to carry only one weapon. Yeah, my favorite weapon has always been the AK-47. It is not the 56, it's not the Romania, it's not 103, it's nothing of that sort. It is the Kalashnikov 47. Because for me, 47 is a very simple weapon. Yeah, it's and it fires a 7.62 round. So it's a sure shot kill. So उस weapon ko you put it in fire, you put it in water, you put it in mud, it will fire. It is a very good, that the gas operating system is also very, very, very fine. So it hardly has any, stoppages. So it is a reliable weapon and simple and effective. So for me, it is always the AK. I always love the AK. The only drawback is that, it has a little issue with the accuracy, but if you're proficient with handling that weapon, I was comfortable with it. So I always prefer the AK. 47, not anything else, but 47, yeah.
Got it, sir. So, if you could tell us, the experience that you spoke about, where you almost had a near-death experience.
And near-death experience, so I had twice in the army. Yeah, one was in the firefight, and one was while I was undergoing an expedition. I was going for a summit. So the first one was again in counterinsurgency, and we had a hardened about an area commander in was there whom we've been searching. Whom not just we, I mean the entire army and the police force, everybody was searching for him for about 19 years, and nobody could find him. And he had such strong network. He could just disappear in thin air. Nobody would even know where he was or what he did. And we did not even have a photograph, and no recent photographs. One photograph that we had probably some, 16, 17 years ago, and he changed a lot towards the end. So anyways, there was a hard end, and we got him in a cluster of houses where he was staying. and we could immediately go cordon him, and we could trap him there. So I get a call from my CO at middle of the night, and he says that you move your team from there and from your COB, come to so and so location. We've got this guy, and we need you there right now. So we moved, and uh, I had a team, a bunch of selected few from the unit. Every unit has got a few bunch of guys who are like absolutely crazy, and you just need to find them and nurture them, and then make them the kind of weapon that you'd use in such operations. So I took my team and we went, and we approached from the northern side. So there was already one. There was a cotton party there, and one of our unit officer was there. And I took a small situation report. Ki bhai, ho kya raha hai wahan pe, what is happening? And then he said that we cordoned them from these areas, and there's a south axis that is empty, and there is a high probability that he's going to run out of there. So I got I spoke to my commanding officer over radio that this is a situation. He said that immediately move that side and get hold of that area. So I said fine, and the cluster of houses was just about how much 50-60 meters, and me and my team was moving towards south. And then there was a burst of fire. And when there was this fire, and you hear something going over your head, chung, that it gives you a chill. It gives you a chill down your spine, and you feel trapped. You feel trapped because whenever there is fire coming at you, you'll always feel that it is an aimed fire, irrespective of whether the guy has seen you, not seen you. But if there is fire at you coming, you'll always know, you'll always feel there is aimed fire. And at that point of time, when you feel that the enemy is seeing you and you are not seeing the enemy, it is a very uneasy feeling. You are there's a chill in your bones. You feel trapped. You don't want to move at that point of time. You just dig down, and you are taking cover and waiting, trying to analyze what the situation is, what happened, what not. So yeah, so that time and I was me and my team were staying there for a very long time, thinking as to what to do. But then I realized that there is another, cordon in front of us. They're already there. It's no point me staying here. There's another access that is open, and I have to take care of that access. So, yeah, we somehow, of course, we are trained that way to take hold of such situations, and we move towards south. And next morning, whatever, there were firefights at night, and the entire night I was just thinking that अगर वो ऐसे आया तो हम क्या करेंगे, अगर वो ऐसे आया तो हम क्या करेंगे. There's constant visualization that was going on. And towards first light, we squeezed in the cordon, and then we were waiting, and there were hostages in those houses. There were 4-5 of them together. So there was no way that we could use an RL or MGL or anything of that sort. And by morning around 7 o'clock, there were reports saying that probably he's neutralized inside. So there were a lot of intel coming to us. And then I was requesting CEO that CEO, isko, we have to do the old-fashioned room intervention, just barge in. There's no other way. So he took a conscious decision, and he finally said that, "Okay, Bhaskar, go." And we went, and there were 2 rooms. First room, and there are 2 rooms like this. And this room, we were very sure that towards the right, we were very sure that he's there. And so we would not barge in straight away from there. And we thought that the other door, in between, there is no partition. So we'll barge in from the other door so that we can take him. And then we went inside, and we saw that that's a separate room altogether. And there is another door in between. So वहां पे जब गया था, and we took a note that the first room clear है. Second room, when I went to to do the intervention, so जो दरवाजा था, I was on one side, my point man was on the other side, but the door was it was a pull door, so we cannot push it or break it open. We had to pull it open. So when he pulled it open, I became the point man. So when I became the point man, what my buddy did is that he caught me like this, and he put me behind. He said, first is always me. I cannot let anything sort of happen to you or the team. So this is what army is. Today when I think about that incident, I still get goosebumps. At that point of time, that high intensity, high octane action. This guy is telling me, "Ki Saab, aap piche aao. And he just pushed me behind and he went in. And then I walked in, and then we saw that the militant mara hua tha. He got shot the previous night. So that way, we were lucky. But again, the shot that happened the previous night was very close. And the next morning, the shock that I got from my buddy, that was again very, very shocking. The second incident was when I was in Special Operations Forces. And Special Operations Forces is basically, वहाँ पे भी probation चलता है, वहाँ पे भी, it is basically a extreme high altitude commando force. They're also known as Alpine Commandos. So वहाँ पे mountaineering is a very, very important activity. It's a very important training because we are trained to fight in very high altitude. तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है? We were summiting Mount Kun in Ladakh. That's in Zanskar. So and it's a very technical peak. And the final day when we were supposed to summit the peak, so we left around midnight, 12:30. And then after about 2-3 hours of walk, me and my team, three of us got roped up and we were climbing. And then what happened was there was a place where there was a kind of overhang. So I had to, climb from left and move up. So my buddy in front, he climbed from left, he jumped and he moved up. But when I did, I slipped. And I fell towards the left. And there was a 60-degree kind of a slope, an ice, a big, solid ice. And when I fell, I was just sliding down, char karke niche ja raha tha. And it was not bloody stopping. And at that point of time, I thought that, bhai, aaj, today I'm dead. And I shouted help. I shouted help, and then I shouted, I'm dead today. That kind of a thing. And then the guy behind me, he pulled the rope and he arrested the fall. So I stopped. And then for about 2-3 seconds, I was like, kind of blank. And I didn't know what was in front. I definitely didn't know what was behind. It was pitch dark. And then once I stopped and I was like this, in that chunk of ice, my buddy shouted, Saab, upar aa jao. And once I heard that voice, I don't know, some energy came from, inside, some inner consciousness told me, ki, bhai, get the fuck out of here, man. Immediately. And I was actually, uske baad, pata nahi kahan se itna energy aa gaya, what happened to me? I 2 point karke, I started running up in a 60-degree up, slope. I was actually running. I just caught the slope and I walked up and I said, thank you to my, both my teammates. And then we summited and we came back. The next day when we came back, then I saw the area जहाँ पे ये incident हुआ था. And I saw that it was a slanting, a slope for about almost 50-60 feet. And then it's a deep, cliff all the way down somewhere close to about 2,000 feet. And when I saw that, I was like, God, thank you. And I thank my, my friend, my buddy, who arrested my fall and shouted, ki saab upar aa jao. Maybe God has come in his voice to come and tell me, it's not your day today. So these were the two incidents that was very close, and I almost died twice. But luckily, with God's grace, I'm still here.
Got it.
So yeah, good experience with Lijavi.
Got it, sir. So you're also a paratrooper. So if you could tell us, how was your first experience when you jumped out of an aircraft and the subsequent jumps that you did?
Yeah, paratrooping is a fantastic activity. It's an amazing thing because it honestly teaches you a lot. Because see, paratrooping, you constantly practice the same thing over and over again for 12-14 days, close to about 15 days. We landing, flight exit, and then flight technique, wo sabhi kar rahe ho, over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. Your ankles give up, your knees give up, your back give up, your hips give up, but you keep doing the same thing. So, it is basically, हम फौज में बोलते हैं muscle memory. ये muscle memory में डालने के लिए. Because as a paratrooper, what happens? You jump from low heights. You jump from about 1,200 to 1,500 feet. In operations, उससे भी low up jump करोगे, somewhere around maybe 800 or 600 feet. You never know. So, because the idea is to come down as soon as possible. Because once you hit the ground, that is when you can fight, right? So, and you're most vulnerable when you're in the air. So you jump from lower heights, relying on that parachute. So you hardly have any time. And if something goes wrong and you don't respond according to what you've been trained for, you will fall and you'll crack open like an egg. There's no doubt about it. So ये जो muscle memory वाला concept है, it is nothing but, it is creating patterns in your subconscious mind. So it is creating a habit over and over and over again, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Where you come, okay, yellow on, green on, jump 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, check canopy, कुछ हो गया, ये हो गया, नहीं खुला parachute, canceling हो गया, you immediately operate your reserve, because if you don't, there is no tomorrow then, right? So that is something, anybody can imbibe. That is the power of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and create that habit, create that pattern in your subconscious mind to do whatever you want. So paratrooping में ये बहुत ही exciting चीज है, that you constantly do the same thing so that you make no mistakes. The second important thing is, I would say it tests your fear, and it makes you realize that fear is a good thing, because fear stops you from doing stupid things. Because जब भी जैसे ही वो yellow on होता है, there is, no matter how experienced a paratrooper you are, दिल में धक धक होता है. Okay? But that धक धक, that fear is a kind of a signal to your brain saying that भाई तैयार हो जाओ, ready हो जाओ, this is it. And now there is no time to think stupid things, because if you do that, you'll do stupid things. And there are others in the aircraft, whose lives you can jeopardize. So there is no question of that. So that signal to your mind ki bhai, this is it. It's time to jump, take action. So that's why I say the fear is a very, very good thing. Situational fear is something that, it stops you from doing stupid things, actually. So paratrooping teaches you these things, and it builds your character. It absolutely builds your, paratrooping may be a, obsolete form of insertion method in today's warfare, but it can never go out of training from military forces, because, it builds character. It's very important. It's very important. And it's exciting as well. When you're risking your life on the line, taking the leap of faith, it's a fantastic feeling.
Got it, sir. Sir, if you can tell us, from your experience in the army, if I can ask you any three life lessons that you have learned across your, span of experience in the army, what would be any three life lessons which you still cherish and would like to share?
Yeah, life lessons. Everything I've spoken everywhere, there were life lessons only, right? But three generic basic things that I would like to say is that, what I've got from the army is that first thing is, of course, the mindset. You need to work on developing your mindset, because above all, that is the most, precious thing. And the example is SSB. What do they test over and over again? They're not checking your marks. They're not checking where you come from, what what you've done. They're just checking who you are and what you can become. So they're checking your psychology over and over again. A million-strong army that we have, they believe that for our leaders, the most important thing is the psychology, the mindset. So it is important that you invest on yourself. It is important that you you build your mind, you train your mind accordingly to be better every day. So that is important. So that's what I've learned right from the SSB days, that there's nothing that supersedes the mind. So always train your mind and have the kind of mindset that is required to face challenges in today's world. Second is failures. I've faced many failures. I told you right from the time I tried to join the army, and there were so many. But always remember that failures is nothing but lessons learned, because failures honge hi honge. Life is not about someone not failing at all. It is about all those people who has failed, but still they have pursued their goals. Still they have fought it out till the end. That's what matters. That's how champions are made. So failures is something we should not be afraid of. Failures is something that, accept it, learn, and hit back to, to win again. A third would be, see, you have to face your fears. Yeah, you have to face your fears, and you cannot escape. You cannot run away from it. Today's world, you have to be mentally tough. Army always puts you in a position where there is no other option but to be mentally very, very tough, right? And it is a very simple concept. Mental toughness is born. It is born out of pain, pressure, and struggle. So if you're not willing to face challenges, if you're not willing to face discomfort, then sorry, your mind is not going to get developed. Mental toughness will come only and only if you face challenges. If you're willing to embrace discomfort, you will see, that's how growth happens. That is where growth happens. That is where opportunities are. That is where you realize who you are. That is where you know how to improve yourself. So Don't shy away from your fears and from your challenges. Be mentally tough, and the only way to do it is accept discomfort. Accept discomfort as an opportunity to grow. So yeah,
Got
these are the couple of things that I'll say that your viewers can take from me, that I follow and that I cherish.
Understood, sir. So since you're a short service commission, once you came out, how was your experience in the civil world? What are the various opportunities you have as a, an officer once you retire?
See, like I said, no, before that, you may enter as a sheep, but you come out as a wolf, an alpha wolf. And the biggest asset that you carry from, as an SS officer once you come out is not the brand of the Indian Army, or not that you are an SS officer, but you come out with the kind of mindset that is, that is a never say die attitude. Yeah. So you come out and you will see an opportunity, a sea of opportunity wherever you want to venture, and you will see growth in every little chaos that you see out there. For me, I'm running multiple businesses now. I have no idea about business before. I have no background in business. My father, he was in the judiciary. Everybody were job kind of people. Everybody, and we don't have this thing of entrepreneurship in our family. So I'm the first one. So, but I could take this challenge because why? Because of the mindset that I carry from my forces days in forces. It's the same thing that I carry. That I'm not willing to accept no for an answer, and and keep trying. Because if you desperately want something and you try for it, you don't need a plan B. If you have a plan B, that means you're first of all never serious with your plan A. So if your plan A is dead serious, you have one path. There is no question of taking another path, right? Be persistent, continue with that. And as an assist officer, once you come out, there are plethora of opportunities. If you want to join the corporate, there are my friends who are working in corporate. There are my friends who have joined other government organizations. But yes, to some extent, I would say that the kind of support that we could have got from our state, that is somehow probably lacking a little. Yes, there is no concept of pension with assist officers. But again, that is something, I would say that if we get, it's good. It's otherwise it's little discriminatory for us. But anyways, I mean, we, people like me, we never joined the forces for anything monetary. We joined for the pure action, for the adrenaline. I have been an adrenaline junkie, and army has given me more than what I could expect. So I'm okay with it, and I'm still young, yeah, and I can still hustle. So I will take it forward, not an issue. But yes, to some extent, I do feel that maybe the government could do a little more as far as resettlement of SS officers are concerned, even if they are not willing to give pension. Resettlement is important because people have to live even after that. There are a lot that is coming up because an SS officer, once he's out, he's somewhere in his 30s. He's got a family. He's got kids. So initial 2-3 years is very difficult for him. But it's not that we complain. Difficulties is nothing for us. We'll face it. We will do it. We've done things before. We'll do it again. So, and otherwise, what I feel, Akash, SS is a brilliant entry. It's a beautiful entry. You know, you serve the army. You give your 10 years out of 60, 70, 80 years that you live. Give 10 years to this organization, and you see how it changes you. It will transform you into an absolutely a fantastic being. So you go serve with nothing that you can ask for in return. Serve with full what I would say with full heart, for the organization, and then come out after 10 years, and then you can look at other avenues. Opportunities are there. You just need to go and grab it. But what you learn from army is priceless. The mindset that you get from the army is priceless. So I think everybody should go and join the SS Service Commission. And plus we have a shortage in the tactical leaders, space, because we have they are the ones who lead people in battle. They are, and that's where our shortages are. And SS Commission is a fantastic thing where we can fill up this particular shortage that we have. So And anyone, like I said, anyone who is looking for action, anyone who is looking for the adrenal rush, SS is the best part of your time. The initial 10, 12 years are the best part of your life, where you get to see action, where you are out there with men in the wild, doing things, taking decisions that matter. So I think this is the most fantastic part of the army.
Got
That
it, sir.
initial 12 years, which covers, SS officers cover it.
Got it, sir. So my final question to you, there's a lot of aspirants will be watching this. What will be your message to all of them who wants to join the forces?
My message to all of them would be, see, first of all, you've chosen a very beautiful career. Army is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful life. It is a way of life. It is not a job. Don't go out there to, just looking to it as a job. So there's much more than that. But otherwise, always remember that you need to work on your, for your viewers who are trying for SSB, just work on your, certain leadership traits, because at the end of the day, you will be commanding troops, right? And in order to command troops, in order to lead them, you need to have certain leadership qualities. And see, Akash, to me, leadership is the ability to inspire. If you can inspire people, you'll be able to influence them with their choices. And if you can influence them with their choices, you can lead them towards a common objective. And in fact, you can create self-leading teams, right? And but the question is again, भाई क्या करना है? ये तो leadership लोग बहुत बोलते हैं, but what is the thing? करना क्या है इसमें? See, after what I have studied in my time in forces, what I've experienced is that there are three things that you really require and you need to work on as far as leadership is concerned. And if you work on these three things, let me tell you, SSB is going to be a piece of cake. Okay. Number one is character, right? Like I said, that leadership is the ability to inspire. So only if you have a character, a good character, a morally upright character, if you only have that, then people will get inspired by you, right? Nobody's going to get inspired by a dishonest person or a disloyal person or demotivated person or selfish person, right? Nobody's going to get influenced or inspired by them. So first and foremost is your character, and it can be built. It can be built over time. You just need to be conscious about it. Second thing is professional competence. Whatever field you are in, you have to be competent. You have to be competent professionally. Even in SSB, आप जब जाओगे वहां पे पर्सनल इंटरव्यू वगैरह जब लेते हैं, what are they asking you? They're asking about you, what you're presently doing, right? If you are, let's say you are in the IT industry, or if you're a student or whatever you're doing in life, they will ask you on those things only. They want to see कि भाई ये बंदा कितना serious है अपना profession को लेके or whatever he's doing. So only if there is some level of seriousness in his profession, and that can only be reflected when through his competency while they're interacting, when the interviewer is interacting, only then they will be sure that okay, fine, ye jab Fauj mein aayega, maybe he will be serious accordingly, and he has that quality in it. Otherwise, if somebody who is not serious, how can you be sure that ye Fauj mein aake achanak serious ho jayega, as far as his profession is concerned, right? So if you're professionally competent, you are the go-to person. You will be able to inspire others. You will be able to influence others. People will look up to you कि भाई बंदा को पता है. He knows shit, right? If he knows his shit, then he can always lead well, right? Third thing I would say is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is not about being emotional. It is about understanding other people's emotions. If you don't understand the emotions of your troops, if you don't understand the emotions of your unit of the army, I'm sorry, you cannot lead, right? So SSB में भी वही देखेगा कि भाई बंदे में है कि नहीं, लोगों को समझने का ताकत है कि नहीं, लोगों के इमोशंस को समझने का ताकत है कि नहीं, right? So if you don't understand the emotions of your friends, of your families, I'm sorry, somewhere that inspiring capability will come down, right? So if someone goes up to you and you're being able to understand that guy, only then he will be inspired by you, right? So at the end of the day, घूम फिर के inspiration में ही आता है. Only then you'll be able to influence. Correct. So character, professional competence, and emotional intelligence. Work on these three things. Leadership is going to be inherent. Leadership is going to be inside you. and SSB will be a piece of cake for you. There's no doubt about it.
Got it, sir. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time on the session. It was really an enriching experience, understanding the various life lessons and various, things that you have told us, which will be, a lot of importance to all the aspirants and to people who are not aspirants but still watch. Thanks a lot, sir, for your time on the session. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much. Once again, congratulations. You and your team is doing a wonderful job. And thank you once again for having, making this channel for, exclusively for armed forces people. And I'm really happy to be here. I was really honored and I really enjoyed talking to you. It was a
Yeah.
wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.